Hey guys, we're back. It's the movie Propcast, back from the dead. Just kidding. We weren't actually dead. Just to clarify, Tyler,
I was a little dead.
You died?
A little.
Oh
bit.
my god.
Yeah, I came back.
You didn't even tell me.
Rough.
I
didn't really have time.
There was like a month gap, right, where you just like stopped talking to me, and I was like, "Dude, are you dead?" And then this is actually the first time I've seen you since then. So yeah, welcome back, man. I was dead.
Yeah, you're lucky. It was kind of hard. You have to make your way through the pits of Tartarus, and there's this guy in a boat. It's tough. Anyway, I'm just glad I can make it back here because it was in my calendar. My phone kept going off, and I was like, God, Doyle's gonna be real upset if I don't make this schedule.
So we got to come back, man. We had a good thing going. The ball was rolling. It's the movie Propcast. We're back now officially after our. When a lot of people do this, right? They come back and they're like, "It's season 2 of the movie Propcast." It's not season 2, all right. This is it's all one big shebang. There was a small gap. There was some life events going on. Tyler, I think we both moved in the time in the last like 2 to 3 months. We both went through a moving process. Me, not as far as you.
I had a journey.
You had a trek. How did that go? How did that process go? Because it was multi-state move, right? That's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, you know how moves go. Like the worst part of it all isn't even like. Actually, all of it was kind of rough, but it was fun. It was nice. My family came. We took a road trip, and we're finally settled in and organized. So I'm happy to get back to my schedule.
Yeah, I hear you have your own little area now, so we can now churn out 4 podcasts a week. Be looking.
Oh, they're
going to
get tired of us.
No, I don't know about 4 podcasts a week. But I think we can get in a groove now, I think, where we can probably up it. But I don't want to make any promises yet.
Let's get comfy. Let's
get this first one back. We'll get back on the track here. And obviously we're coming back. It's my selection. We left off. You picked Mission Impossible, right? So that was the last movie we've done. That was a fun one. And this one had been on my list since the very beginning of this. We rated this podcast.
I was going to say, before we even, like, you've been mentioning this since we spitballed the idea to create the podcast.
I don't know why. I love this movie so much. It's 1998's Small Soldiers. If you know the movie, you know what we're talking about, how fun it was. If you have no idea and you haven't watched it, pause this, go watch it, come back, because we're obviously going to spoil it. I mean, the movie's, what did we just say? We decided it came out July 10th, 1998. You did the math. I don't even remember what the number was. 24 years. So yeah, I feel like a lot of our movies have hit that little window of like late 90s, early 2000s. And I know that we do that a lot, but that's just the movies we love the most. I feel like that's our window, the most nostalgic stuff. And Small Soldiers to me is like maybe top 2. I don't know what the other one would be, but I'll say top 2 just to leave that door open of like childhood movies that stuck with me.
I gotta say, like, I do remember Burger King having like, it obviously wasn't these exact toys, but they did have like a Small Soldiers thing going on, and you could get a version of like Chip Hazard and Archer, and it was awesome. It was a good time.
Yeah. Anytime there's like a Happy Meal or a Burger King Kids Meal toy collaboration, it like bumps it up another level, right? Like if you can get the little toys and a little meal, you're like, oh man, this is sick.
Did we bring that up in the Men in Black podcast? By the way, we did Men in Black. That was our second release ever.
Yeah, go back. Finish this one and then go back. You know.
Yeah, but did we bring up they put in a neuralizer in? Like, I had the neuralizer Burger King toy.
No, see, I didn't even remember that. I don't even think I got that.
What? Oh my god!
So we're gonna go off on a tangent here, but like my most iconic McDonald's toys was, to me, like the Inspector Gadget thing. Do you ever remember that one? That was a good one back
that
in the day.
Was the most iconic. I thought you were going to go
I got the whole set. You could like assemble. Pokemon was Burger King, I think. Burger King.
You
got
said
Pokemon.
McDonald's. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You said McDonald's. Okay.
We're all over the map. But yeah, kids meal toys for sure, 100%. I didn't know Men in Black had one though. I'm actually kind of jealous. I might have to go back and find that neuralizer.
Just hop in your time machine, the one back there, and you can go get it.
Yeah. Oh no, we all have one by now, right? If you're listening to this in the future, which is now the present, which is
if you're listening to this right now.
You probably have a time machine, right? Okay. So Small Soldiers, yeah. Well, one thing I want to do before we get deep into it, I want to run down the cast because it shocked me how many big names were involved, not just visually, not just live action, but all the voice actors in this blew my mind when I went back and tried to figure out who was who and what was what. Because You don't even really know. They don't even promote a lot of the voice actors in this movie.
Oh no, I think they went uncredited. No, they probably went credited. I don't remember all of them being said, but yeah, it was a pretty big who's who. And I'm gonna say right now, you're probably about to blow up one of my did you knows. I'm just saying it right now, so when you say it, it doesn't sound like I'm making it up. No, but
okay, so I'll say the names, and then you could, if you have a little did you know, you can feel free to jump in. I won't go on a tangent. All right, if you got something, go for it.
I only have two small ones. It's okay.
No, that's good. That's what she said. I want to go. I do want to read the description of the movie real quick because I think that's a good, like, I don't know. I'm reading it on IMDb. It just says when missile technology is used to enhance toy action figures, the toys soon begin to take their battle programming too seriously. And when I read that, I was like, okay, one sentence. Yeah, that makes sense. That's it. Only reason I wanted to read it because it wasn't like the full synopsis of the movie. I was like, that kind of gets you into the mood for it. But as far as cast, Kirsten Dunst right out the gate. Very young Kirsten Dunst. And obviously, we're a Kirsten Dunst podcast. We're big Kirsten Dunst fans.
So I will do my shtick after this because I have a shtick. I'll run it down. But yes, we are a Kirsten Dunst. And unfortunately, as I was watching this movie, I was going through a mental checklist. And right now, she's our highest reviewed, highest
unfortunate.
Casted. Well, no. That's not the unfortunate part. It's awesome. I love her. And it's crazy how a part of... I had a bigger crush on her than I guess I realized. She's part of a bunch of my favorite movies growing up. But after this one, I don't think there's going to be many more Kirsten Dunst movies coming up.
Well, first off, how dare you? That's the only thing I'm nominating moving forward is Kirsten Dunst films.
You could go for it. But
yeah, I'll give a shout out. Gregory Smith was old Alan Abernathy. Why I didn't even say who Kirsten Dunst was in this movie. She was Christy. Let me lick my lips. Fimple. I licked my lips because I wanted to say Fimple with correct grammar and pronunciation.
Was it Christy or Misty? I thought the boyfriend ran down the stairs. It was Christy?
Christy Fimple, which is just a gross last name. I don't know why.
I feel like part of that last name was because of her father. I feel like I didn't even associate the last name with her the entire movie. It was just her dad, because her dad deserved all of that last name.
100%. So Gregory Smith was Alan Abernathy, obviously the main character that throughout the film. Jay Moore was in here as Larry Benson. You see Jay Moore and I forgot his name. What's David Cross? Both obviously recognizable now. I think Jay Moore went on to have like a sports show now. He's got like a sports radio show now, I think, at this point. But he was a comedian, actor, went on to do that. But David Cross, it was in a lot of movies too. I don't know.
So many.
Movies. Yeah,
Scary
he's been
Movie.
Pretty much everything. Oh yeah, obviously Scary Movie. Yeah,
he's just been in a bunch of stuff. Like he unfortunately for people who weren't around during this time, he's like a big that guy face. Like you see him in a bunch of stuff,
right? 100%.
But you don't remember. Yeah, you just don't remember his name.
He's Erwin Wayfair in this film. Phil Hartman is Phil Fimple, which is disgusting. That sounds gross.
It's disgusting, but it was his personality. Like he deserved all of that.
Yeah, so we've done the neighbor. That's Phil Hartman's main role. I'm the neighbor. I'm the annoying neighbor.
I was going to say He's the obnoxious. You can't just say the neighbor. He was the obnoxious neighbor. Like I hope I'm not mistaking this. I think the only other role I know him in where he wasn't the annoying neighbor was House Guest. I think he was the main guy in that.
I'm sure he had a lead role or two somewhere. But yeah, this is prime Phil Hartman as annoying neighbor to me. Personally.
Yeah, by the way, go back and watch Jingle All the Way. We went on big on Phil Hartman in that.
Yeah, big Phil Hartman fan. But I actually found something, a little tidbit on Phil Hartman about this movie, which is actually kind of depressing. But this was actually the last on-screen film role for Phil Hartman before he was before he got murdered 2 months prior to the film's American premiere. So he actually passed away before this. Not passed away. He was killed before this movie was actually theatrically released.
Why wouldn't you tell me that before we're on camera, man? That's terrible.
What do you mean? This is big news. What do you mean? I didn't realize that until just before we started. I'm on the IMDb or the Wikipedia page. That's actually something that I didn't know even coming into this. We're learning this at almost the same time.
I had no idea. I was wondering why I hadn't seen him in more stuff. How does it? I mean, not to get too morbid, but like.
Do you not know? You didn't know the Phil Hartman story?
No.
Oh, that was like a whole thing. I mean, I'm sure that there's like a documentary on it by now, but apparently he was obviously in a toxic relationship with I don't know if it was his wife or the girlfriend at the time. There was a back and forth, whatever happened, and she wound up murdering him, and it was a whole thing. I don't this we're getting all like CSI, documentary. But if you look it up, Phil Hartman, it's actually super depressing because he would have been somebody awesome to have in his late years. Especially
he would have been
films.
a great character actor. Oh my god! Like his roles were obnoxious, but he did them so well that you can't picture the movies without him there.
Right? He's like you love to hate this guy, right? He comes in and you're like, God, he's super annoying. Like but you love that though. It's not like you never want to see him. Like that's his best part. Anyway, moving on. The actual dad, Stuart Abernathy, the owner of the toy store, and obviously the father of Alan Abernathy in this movie, Kevin Dunn. He's another one that's also in the I'm the dad, the strict dad role.
Yes.
As obviously he's in the Transformers. We went back and he literally plays the same role in Transformers.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure he adopted Shia LaBeouf and then just was the exact same character in that movie.
Right. 100%.
Even down to the yard and the lawn and that's my tree. And
I'm absolutely positive that whoever was casting for Transformers went back and was like, "Who's that guy from Small Soldiers? I want that exact." Like he literally was like, "Do this in this movie." It's the exact same thing, but yeah, he did that as well. Dennis Leary as Gil Mars, Mr. Mars. I forget what the company was.
Globotech.
Well, yeah, Heartland Toys was what they bought. He wound up buying Heartland Toys, but yeah, Globotech Technology. He was just the CEO, bigwig guy that came in and just everybody the butthole tightened up, which is what happens, I think, right?
I wanted a small aside. Why in like the 90s and 2000s were all the bad guys like Globo blank, like Globo Tech? We did Dodgeball, Globo Gym. Yeah, like what was wrong with wanting to be global? What's wrong with that?
That's it. Yeah, it like some sort of like world domination undertone. I don't know what that is. It is very strange that was the way they were going with it. Who else was in this movie? I mean, as far as like actors, I mean, there's some other big ones, obviously some older ones, but as far as actors, that's pretty much the top, the ones that you're going to recognize.
But now they're cream of the crop.
But now when you get to the voice cast, now we're like, okay, these are some heavy hitters. Obviously, right out the gate, the top billed, Tommy Lee Jones is Chip Hazard in this film. The head of the Commando Elite. Amazing. He's perfect. I think he's perfect for that role. Yeah, I don't know who else could have done that better, especially at the time. But Tommy Lee Jones was king right around that time. We're talking Men in Black. That's like, it's all in that time frame. But yeah, he nailed this. I think that's a great role for him.
Oh yeah, he killed it.
One thing I did find out: Jim Brown voiced the Butch Meat Hook character.
Meat Hook, I love that name.
I didn't know Jim Brown,
up.
NFL superstar, right? And then in his late years, they're just like, yeah, Jim Brown, you want to do this? Sure, that's awesome. I didn't know he was even doing stuff like that.
Around this time, I think he also did Mars Attacks. Jim Brown, he had a couple of movie roles. I think he did Mars Attacks, and he might have had one other.
Yeah, and then obviously, and we're obviously too young to understand. Jim Cummings, I do recognize, voiced Ocula, just the noises of the one-eyed monster, the one-eyed, I don't know, Gorgonite. I know who Jim Cummings is. I was lucky enough to meet him at a Comic-Con, and I had him autograph my Winnie the Pooh, because he's the voice of Winnie the Pooh as well.
I didn't know that.
Had him voice that Winnie the Pooh movie, or autograph, not voice it, but autograph it. That's kind of cool. The other people in this movie, I feel bad because I know that there's like some major, like Frank Langella. I know him. He's obviously been in some other movies. You'd recognize him if you saw his face. He's one of those guys. But a lot of them were like cast members from old movies, right? Like entire casts. Like the rest of the Commando Elite were, I think, 4 or 5 actors that were in a movie. I don't remember what the movie was. Now I'm like trying to think about it, but there was like an old Western / like mafia. I don't know if it was Western or mafia, but they were all in it, and they just got the cast, and they're like, "We want you guys to voice this," and they all just signed on. It was kind of cool. And then on the other side, the Gorgonites, I think, were voiced by the cast of Spinal Tap. The movie Spinal Tap. There's like 2 or 3 actors. So they just grabbed a
whole cast?
Yeah, they're like, this movie and this movie.
Cool.
We want you guys, and then they wound up coming in and doing it. I wish I could remember that other movie for the Commando Elite voice actors. But You wouldn't I mean, unless you're deep into it, you probably wouldn't recognize the name. But I mean, I don't want to go down the list because I'm too lazy, to be completely honest. But now we're back to our age range. The Gwendy dolls. Did you see the voice actors for the Gwendy dolls?
This was going to be my did you know? Yeah.
This is amazing. I just found this out today.
I did too.
Sarah Michelle Gellar and Christina Ricci were the voices of the Gwendy dolls, and I don't know they got any billing at all in this film.
I don't think so. And they were decent names then. Like, 98. Buffy must have been out or starting, and I know you did last summer. It was close at least.
Yeah, and then Ricci had Casper and Addams Family.
She had Casper. She had a depressing movie called The Snowstorm or something like that. She had been a decent name too.
But the fact that they're just the throwaway Gwendy dolls, that's hilarious to me. I don't know why. Which we'll get into the logic of the Gwendy dolls later in the podcast. But that's amazing, that lineup.
There's a lot of logic things that we're gonna have to discuss in this movie because one scene hit and I was just like that. I know we're suspending disbelief, but come on now. But yeah, the Sarah Michelle Gellar and the Christina Ricci thing, I wanted to shock you with. I'm a little upset you figured it out.
Oh no, yeah, I do my research, man. I try to do my homework every once in a while. Let's see what I can do.
Are you done with your casting stuff?
The cast. I'm down the line on the cast. We're good.
So for my shtick, as I brought it up earlier, this is number 3 for Kirsten Dunst. She is the highest. Most propcasted actress that we have right now. Tommy Lee Jones, David Cross, Phil Dunn, and Phil Hartman all hit 2 with this movie.
All right.
So I'm not going to be able to do this much longer because, there's going to be a theme where all of our movies have actors that we just love. I just at this moment, it just blows my mind that Kirsten Dunst ended up the highest rated this year.
It is, yeah.
I didn't expect that.
I almost want to just exclusively find Kirsten Dunst movies now and just become a Kirsten Dunst podcast.
So we're doing Bring It On next? Is that Bring It On?
Hell yes. What are you talking about? That's on my list. That's a banger. What are you talking about? That's a good movie. Okay, so speaking of good movie, I'm going to take it over to Rotten Tomatoes real quick and just give the reaction. Obviously, Rotten Tomatoes is a big website. They rank movies based on critics and user reviews. Tomato Meter says this baby is a 48% out of, obviously, 100%. That's how percentages work. But 48%, this thing's dog water. Garbage.
Honestly, I'll accept that. I mean, it's not the highest rate, but when you watch this movie, it's a niche movie, and parents like us, like you and I, we're gonna run out and grab this to show our kids. But this isn't like Toy Story where every parent is showing their kid this movie. It's gonna be people like us who have those fond memories.
Yeah, we're the only ones keeping the Small Soldiers story alive. Yes. But I will say, that was the critics' consensus, 48%. And typically when you're on Rotten Tomatoes and people like me go in and then you get the audience score, it typically jumps to a respectable range. This movie right here, 48% tomato meter from the critics, 45% from the audience. It's lower. The audience hates it.
I don't believe that. Yeah, what's the number on those? What's the number on that?
Over 100,000 ratings.
That's insane.
That's crazy to me. I'm like, what do you mean? You don't have any shred of nostalgia? Couldn't even put it over 50? I don't know. To me, that's like that. When I'm scrolling through Rotten Tomatoes and I see that the audience score is lower than the critics, that's like a red flag to me. And listen, I'm not saying this movie is friggin' Shawshank Redemption, but I mean, like, it's got its merits. It's fun. It's I don't know. It's obviously early in the CGI days too. It can be
honestly. I was impressed with the CGI for knowing that it was 98. I was actually like, okay, they did. Yeah,
I honestly,
decent.
when I was watching it, it is on Amazon Prime Video right now. If you're listening to this relatively close to the release of the podcast, it's on Prime now. I honestly thought they went back and remastered it. That's how good I thought the CGI was. I was like, this is 25 years ago. Not terrible.
It's not.
Look. But I
also,
go ahead.
IMDb is 6.2 out of 10. So
that's what I'm going to go with. I think that's definitely the accurate one. So let's just forget the Rotten Tomatoes score even exists. Yeah. So as far as rating, I mean, I probably personally, if I was being realistic, like, what would you rate this out of 10? Like realistic, like movie critic. I don't know.
I'd give it 5 or 6. Like,
Yeah.
I genuinely enjoy the movie. It's enjoyable, but I can impartially say this is not a good movie.
Yeah.
Like,
I think I'm right there with you. Like the highest I could go is 6 for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't go any higher than that.
I would definitely watch it again, but I also have no issue watching bad movies, and I'm just nostalgic. Like,
Right. 100%.
I wouldn't watch this all the time, but like I could go back once every couple of years and toss it on and enjoy it.
Right. Yeah.
This was fun for me.
Yeah, I love this movie. I love watching it. Obviously, I love going back, and I nominated the movie, so I'm going to obviously shower it with whatever praise I can. I'm going to shine this turd up as much as I can, is what I'm really trying to say here. But let's just get into the nitty-gritty of this movie. Before we wind up drafting the props from this film, and we obviously know there's going to be a lot of action figures in our draft. And I'll say it right now, the parameters have been set. We're each going to pick 3 picks from this movie, props from this film, and then we have a cap. We can only pick 2 action figures. So it's not just constant action figures going back and forth. We have to pick something else from the film. So keep that in mind when we get into the draft here in a little bit. But as far as this movie, it opens up. Obviously, they're pitching a toy. They're trying to pitch the idea to Dennis Leary, the Mr. Mars guy. Which is it Mars? Yeah, it's Mr. Mars. I don't know why I'm thinking of
Mr. Mars.
I'm thinking of like the candy bar now. Like, right? Like, isn't it like Mars, like a candy company?
Well, can we talk about his assistant first?
Yes.
You remember her name?
Yes. No, I don't.
You don't?
No, I don't remember her name. She didn't have a lot of lines in this movie.
She didn't. She did come up twice. Her name was Miss Kegel. She was cool.
Kegel? Yeah, okay, that's an interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know who's making. I guess that is like somebody's job in this movie is to make these names up. But I'm still hung up on Phil Fimple, and who thought that was a good idea because it just sounds gross. But again, like you said, it fits him.
I have a question. In what world is a military defense company buying a toy company?
Yes. That's obviously very odd. In this, I guess, in this world, the guy likes money. I think it was really just a financial investment more so than we're gonna merge the two. I don't think his intention was ever to merge the two.
So why did they have access? So for those of you who haven't seen, like he said, they're pitching toys to Dennis Leary. Dennis Leary decides to go with the more. We don't call it violence. We call it action. The action toys. So he's pitched 2 different ideas. He's pitched the Gorgonites, who are peaceful. They look more like animals and monsters, and they're very nice, peaceful. And then he's pitched the Commando Elite, which are militaristic. That's it. They're G.I. Joe on steroids. And he wants to go with Commando Elite, and he wants the Gorgonites to be the bad guys. Cool, I get it. He likes action. He likes violence. But later on, I forgot his name already. Jay's name.
Yeah, hold on. I can pull it up. I think it was Larry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Larry. Larry is making these toys because Dennis Leary wants the toys to do what they could do in commercials, which every human being knows is not possible.
Right.
When I was 6, I wanted my toys to do what they did in commercials. But Dennis Leary, at 40 years old, wants that. So Larry goes and puts computer chips, military-grade computer chips, in the... How does he get that access? Tell me.
Okay, well, first off, they got the passwords, right? They were given passwords, and they just said, here, have full access to literally everything. Maybe it was a little early in the computer systems days. They didn't really have the little block up to stop anything. They just it was working on the honor system. I don't know. It is a bit ridiculous that, A, he was able to do that, order all those chips, start production on the actual toys, finish production, package them, and market it, and send it out. And nobody knew what had actually happened, right? At no point when the chips were being placed in the back of these things' heads that somebody said, what's up with this? Nobody flagged it at any point?
Also, that 3D printing was actually pretty spot on. Like when they have a really cool opening sequence where they're finally making the toys, and they have these lasers doing like a 3D sculpture, and it's like coming out of this goop. It honestly was like a pretty accurate depiction of what 3D printing became. Just it's no lasers. It's just like a robot hand, but it was actually a really good job doing 3D printing.
Yeah, no, I thought that actually looked pretty cool. They were like clear molds that obviously came in, and then you have to paint them up and everything, and put the frickin' my initial thought when watching this was like, what was the price point on these toys? Because I was wondering the entire film, and it wasn't until the very end you get the actual price point, and I was like, that's it? Like, what is this?
I thought that was absurd. You mean that's it? I thought that was crazy that they're spending that much.
Wait, what are you talking about? I'm talking about the retail price of these toys with military chips in their head.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, no. I don't care what the company is paying for them. That's fine. The fact that they're paying more for that and then can repackage it and sell it. I'll just say it. At the end of the movie, they say it's $79.95 for this toy. Yes. And it's a big ass toy. It's a big action figure with a military chip in it. And that's $80.
The thing is, so when you think of it from that aspect, yes, that is a ridiculously low amount of money. From a parent standpoint, $80 for that was insane. Sorry, my vibrating.
No, you're good.
$80 for a toy that size. I'm like, oh, that's.
I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to remember what Furbies were going for back in their prime. You know what I mean? Like, I doubt it was $80, but I mean, like, it was probably like 30, 40, right? It had to be at least around there.
I was going to say around 30, 40.
So it's not unrealistic that you slap a military chip in and you can communicate with it and like it can learn. I mean, they don't know that, but it's a military chip. You got to charge at least double Furby price, which is probably what happened in the meeting. That's what they said exactly.
So what I could tie it to is I've recently seen like magazine clippings from like the late 90s, and video games like Super Nintendo cartridges were going for like $69 back then.
Nice.
So that's something we could compare. Yeah, that's what we could compare it to. But when they're giving the pitch, I actually forgot to bring this up. Do you remember how disgusted Dennis Leary was when they said the word learn?
Yes. He's like, learn? We don't want these things to learn.
Yeah, Erwin was like, yeah. Erwin was like, we could use these toys to help kids learn. And Dennis Leary immediately was like, learn? No. And immediately shut him down. That was it. End of conversation. Obviously it showed a lot of what his character is. He was such a strange character that even amidst the chaos at the end of the film, like an entire neighborhood had just exploded. A house was in shambles at the end of this movie. And Dennis Leary just shows up in his helicopter, lands in the street, and just starts writing checks. Like, hey, don't sue me, thanks. Like, that's it. You imagine just having that kind of money? Like, and at no point, the man was unflappable. He didn't, like, nothing that was said, nothing he saw. He was just like, man, I'm going to have to, whatever, I'm going to have to shut these people up. He's planning his next move. But you brought it up, so now I got to ask. I wanted to save this for the end, but how much do you think the checks were that the parents were just like, oh, okay, damage is fine? Like,
I don't know. I'm trying to think like late 90s, what would be...
So think of it this way. If your house was destroyed, your possessions were ruined, and a man comes and writes you a check, and you have the reaction of, oh, everything's all right, how much do you imagine that check had to have been for you to be like, okay, I'm fine with my house being destroyed?
I'd say absolute minimum, $1 million. I would not accept less than $1 million. I would not accept less. I wouldn't have that reaction if it wasn't seven figures.
So you figure $1 million builds you your house back, and then you buy most of your stuff back. So let's say after all that you're left with $400,000, and you're okay with that? You're cool? I got to think insurance might chip in, right? Or no, the insurance might not have anything to help out, or no? It's funny that I had that thought too. Like, I don't know, but I'm just saying. So your reaction, you look at this check and you're like, oh, okay, ignore the fact that I just almost died last night. How much would have to be on that? As I said, I'd say it's got to be $1 million minimum. So yeah, I just say $1 million just to say that's got to be that. So yeah, I would be more than okay. I think I could fix my house up and maybe do some upgrades and still have a decent chunk left over to do just completely change your life. Like, I mean, like that's got to be that. Mine might have to be 2. I might have to go 2 million.
All right. Well, it depends on what your house is. Like that, just like that pretty mild residential home. I mean, it wasn't like a mansion or anything.
It's not just the house for me. It's the fact that you almost died, your kids almost died, and you're literally traumatized from toys. Like, and it's not even like the house was just kind of ruined. The house, like, if you look at the Abernathy house at the end,
it was pretty
like
bad.
The second floor was on the first floor. Like the roof had collapsed.
I think it was more like the patio. Like it looked like the patio had like caved in the front, which you still have, I think, the structural integrity of the bones still seem okay.
I might need,
sort of.
After a night that they had, I might have to go with 2 million before I'm like, all right, you know what? Whatever, forget it ever happened.
I think that could have very well been it. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think. Like everybody got to check. What did the neighbor? What his satellite dish broke and like what? That's pretty much it. Like
no, he had some house damage too because that was like the
electrical
first house
damage.
They started in.
Yeah, that's true, and that's not that much.
I think they blew off both garage doors. I think they blew up multiple garage doors in this movie.
Some fences and all that stuff. But yeah, also the delivery driver. The delivery driver went immediately into, I'm like, how can I get some money out of this guy, right? Because he was like, move the truck, and then he walks away, and he's like, wait a minute. He was the first one to get his. I love that she showed up. The assistant showed up with like a check maker, just a printer for a check, punching numbers in, and then just being like, yeah, here you go. I doubt the delivery driver got too much, right? Like, yeah, sure, he's got the trauma, but he wasn't there for the action. Well, I guess he was. He was tied. Couple hundred? No. 1,000?
Okay, no, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I thought you said a couple hundred. I'm like, what?
No. Couple 100,000.
That's probably fair. Yeah, that's probably fair. I love how they're breaking this down logistically on how much it would take to get us to shut up. You know what? But they would have.
That's what we do.
I guess the most shocking part to me was they didn't go around the entire neighborhood, and also their neighbors were just getting pissed at Phil Fimple, right? The entire time. There's explosions, fire, houses are crumbling, and they're like, "Damn you, Fimple!" Like, what is that?
Yes.
Nobody called the cops.
And it just goes. It goes to show you what Fimple was. Like he was just that annoying guy in the neighborhood.
But you got to call the cops. First explosion, right? Like my neighborhood. There's a war scene. Look out your window once, and you're like, oh shoot, we got to call the police. Like this is crazy. Not one police officer showed up during the entire ordeal. That's insane. And what's funny is. Kirsten Dunst, what's her name again? Christy was on the phone with the police officer. She did call the police at one point, but they didn't believe her. You don't say that. You don't say toys, action figures are assaulting our home and family. You say, I've got multiple injuries, shot wounds, like gunshot wounds, and send paramedics and police. That's it.
Home invasion. That's it.
Yeah. That's not. And then they show up and then they deal with it, right? But I'm trying to imagine what a police officer would do. Were they just going to start shooting bullets at action figures? How dumb that would look. that gunfight? I don't know. That'd be so dumb.
Back to early on, one thing that caught my eye, the box art for these toys was incredible. Did you catch an eye of that?
Yes. Oh, so and then they actually, in the stores, it triggered something. Obviously, the boxes are enormous in the movie, right? The action figures are enormous in the movie. But when I was a kid, I had them. I got action figures. It wasn't that big. But yeah, they used the same art. And like you said, it just like triggered something in me. It was like, this is sweet.
Because seeing Chip like with the guns crossed and they had like an anime design style, that was sick. I was very jealous of that.
They did a good job, I think, of selling the toys because I had, I think, 3 of them myself. Like I was like, I had to. Like this was one of my favorite movies as a kid. I saw them in the stores. I could see how like merchandising from this film at the time was probably awesome. Like this, especially a movie about action figures. Like that's all you need to do. I think the one thing I see in a lot of movie reviews and a lot of just reactions to this film was their unwillingness to commit to PG or PG-13, right? Like, I think it was the contrast of deciding whether it was a kid's film or it wanted to be like a Gremlins and take it a little farther and make it a little more for like teenagers and young adults and stuff like that. But the fact that they didn't...
I felt like they were actively trying to kill people.
Right. Okay, at the end, yes, it definitely escalates to that point. But they originally made the film with the intention for it to be PG, And then the director came in and was like, no, we were going to try to do some of this and this. And normally, like they would like corporate and everybody would align and they would be like, no, we're going to take this path. They just kind of did it both ways. And it was like, there were aspects that were like sweet. Obviously, like the Gorgonites and like the interaction with the kid. And it's like, oh, this is really cool. This is an action figure that's like a friend and you're talking to him. And then you got freaking Tommy Lee Jones coming in and just like murdering people with nail guns. And,
yes.
like, well, trying to murder. No one actually died, but I'm actually. Yeah.
Did you ever see Indian in the Cupboard?
Yeah. I
was getting strong Indian in the Cupboard vibes watching this, like early on. Just the contrast with Archer. Obviously, there's nothing really violent in Indian in the Cupboard. No,
that's definitely that one said we're going to do a kids movie where action figures come to life, and that's fine and it's fun. This one's like, we're just going to have like asshole army like toys just attack everybody constantly, which is also fun too. I mean, it's fun.
So speaking of that, so you're Christy's little brother, right? You walk in the back of the thing and a toy attacks you. You want that toy?
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I probably would be like, what is that? Like, I'm intrigued. Right? Like, what do you get shot with, like a Nerf gun? It wasn't even anything. It was a toy, right? Like, it's not like he got shot.
Guess, yeah.
He didn't get shot with, like, a corn cob holder, right? Which somebody does get shot with later in the movie. Alan gets his whole leg lit up with corn cob holders.
Yes.
But no, if I get harmlessly shot and it, like, addresses me when I walk in the room, I'm going to definitely, it's going to pique my interest. I'm going to be like, what is this? And how can I obtain one of these creatures? Yeah. You would say no thanks and walk away?
No, now that you mention it, I forgot that it was like a Nerf gun. I probably would want that
I mean, it didn't draw blood. Imagine if he took a nail gun right to the face. What do you mean he'd be dead?
The movie starts.
That'd be very dark. That's like some Chucky stuff.
Well, it's funny you say that. So one of my notes is these guys arguably, like, they're lucky. Like you said, they went the PG-13 route. They are very lucky because the Commando Elite they're lucky that the Commando Elite had a goal in mind and a mission, and their mission was just get the Gorgonites. Had they just been running wild like Chucky, easily more violent, more dangerous, and I would take the Commando Elite in a fight over Chucky. Like, they would have, if they just wanted to murder people, they would have wiped out the entire, at least the street. I'd say they take out 2 houses before things get settled.
Right, so that's tough. I mean, obviously, we're doing some death battle stuff here, but I just don't know because the way this movie ends, obviously they wind up triggering like an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse, and everything. They just die. Obviously, I don't know why they're exploding, but it really should just shut down, and that would have been it. But they were literally exploding, and the heads popping off. But with Chucky, you're talking about like spirits. Like that's I don't know how you handle that. Like how do you kill a doll that doesn't have? You can't just power a puppet down, right? Like I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I get that, but you have to figure that weakness out.
I'll take my chances against something that I know I can just pull the battery out, as opposed to something that's just being possessed by a death, like an evil spirit. Like I don't want to even try to tackle that puzzle. That's no thanks for me.
Well, the thing is, you don't know. So you wake up and you open your closet, and there's either a Chucky doll trying to attack you, or 6 Commando Elite trying to attack you. You know nothing else.
Okay, well, if I know nothing else, obviously I'm going to look at the little ginger doll and be like, I'm just going to punt it to the moon. But knowing both of them, I would take the 6 Commando Elite because, they're like, what, a foot tall? Which is, I mean, it's 6 of them can be pretty aggressive, but how strong are they really? It's not like they have, they're little robots, right? So, they're probably pretty strong. But you can still just, I don't know. Like, the only thing I would be worried about is their grip, right? Like a vice grip type thing. But they're not going to, like, throw you. They're not going to, like, push you over. No. I don't know why everybody was falling in this movie. Why was everybody hitting the ground?
Everyone, yes.
A child can pick it up and be like, look at my little action figure. And then as soon as it crawls on their chest, they're like, whoa, and they tumble over like it was like a weight or something. I didn't really understand that. But obviously, suspend your belief to some point. You mentioned suspending your belief. Tell me what really put you over the top where you were like, okay, this is ridiculous. Because I think we might be on the same page.
Okay, so just so we don't speed through the whole movie. So yes, Alan got all these toys from Joe. One thing that Joe, the delivery driver, is not risking his job to give Alan all these toys. He's not. Alan.
Yeah, that was super weird.
Yeah. He not tricks him. He talks him into like, oh, nothing ever fell off the back of your truck. And Joe was like, all right, kid, I'll give you one of each.
That's not even the weirdest part. That's not even the weirdest part about their relationship. It was the fact that like he was like, what are those? And then the guy was like, let's find out. And they go in and bust. Not only open up the box to look at the toys, they open up the box of the toys. Like, what are you doing?
Yes, no, that was completely unrealistic. So there's that. Alan is a troublemaker, and his dad's finally trusting him. So the first thing he does is betray his dad's trust again by doing all of it.
Right.
Also ridiculous. So then, as we already discussed, the toys come alive. The toys start attacking Christy. So this is where I'm getting up to the point that I was like, this is ridiculous. So they do a hostage scenario. They tie up Christy. Christy's boyfriend comes, tries to defend her, gets his pant leg set on fire, runs away, completely leaves her, which is ridiculous.
Well, not only does he leave her, he left the motorcycle. Like,
yes.
What did you do? Just run home? Well, I don't understand.
Yeah, he took his pants off and ran home. So you know that your girlfriend is tied up in her room with at least 10 dolls that are trying to kill her, and you just left and you didn't care. Like, he didn't call her. He didn't do anything.
Yeah,
that was ridiculous.
That was obviously trying to suspend your belief for that. But it was really just to get him out of the picture, right? And it's like an inexcusable abandoning. Yes. And you're like, oh, he's a butthole. Come on, Alan. Slip in there. She's available now. Like, it's all happens very fast.
So the part that really threw me over the edge, though, the Commando Elite decide they need more in their ranks. So Christy has a bunch of Gwendy dolls. I apologize.
Yeah, Gwendy dolls. Come on. Totally
so
different.
They decide to take their fallen comrade. I think it was Nick Nitro.
Yep, Nick Nitro. They said, give me his head.
Yes, they take Nick Nitro's head, rip it in half to show you their strength. He actually ripped a metal, what we think is a metal doll and head in half. They take Nick Nitro's chip. And everyone had one of these at one point, but it's a big circle, and it's one of those electro toys where you put your finger, the electricity goes to your finger. Yes. Yeah. So they put Nick Nitro's chip in the middle of this dish toy. It's a toy still.
Yeah.
And then they start taking the Gwendy dolls, they set them up, and they put their heads in like upside down muffin containers, and they start bringing them to life because they're apparently recreating these military chips out of household materials, and then they're programming these Gwendys to attack. And I'm like, all right, of all the things that are happening in this movie, this one scene of them recreating these X-1000 chips, I was like, I had to pause it for a second. I was like, where are they getting the extra chips? Like,
it's not even the chips for me. It's just logistically trying to get a Barbie doll to move like that. You'd had to break every joint and fill it with metal pieces and you had to put a robot skeleton inside a Gwendy doll to make it move like that. Like, it's just plastic. So yeah, you're right. Like, what? I'll suspend my belief and pretend that one chip can make more chips. Sure. But you put them in a plastic doll's head. How's it moving? How are you moving this doll? I don't know why. All of a sudden, they're full of metal now, and then like you can rip their face off, and like their faces are all distorted. And I will say, even as a kid, like that was creepy. Like that was really weird. The Gwendy dolls with like the pinched faces and like they're all weird and deformed. That was actually kind of scary as a kid.
One was like peeled back with a paper clip. And the skin was held back.
Weird.
Like
but yeah, the integrity of the dolls completely changed. And yes, that was definitely the scene in the movie where you're like, okay, well, I guess they did need reinforcements. So yeah, sure.
Yeah.
There
was a throwaway line that caught me. I don't know if you noticed this. So the Commando Elite destroy Alan's dad's shop, and then Christy comes by later on just to like apologize and see how everything's going. and she says, "Are you running an insurance scam?" And I was like, what does a teenager know about an insurance scam? That was the second line, because Joe earlier said arson discovery techniques are more sophisticated these days, because Alan made a burn down the shop joke. Like, those are going over kids' heads. Like, some adults might not even get those. Like,
it is very weird that they would be like privy to that knowledge. Like, the girl's just like, yeah, oh, you're just trying to get a payout. Like the corporate espionage. Like, yeah, sure, that's how that works. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, but God, that was ridiculous.
No, I think I'm ready to get into the draft. There's some other things I want to hit into, but I think once we start drafting, I think it'll be a little easier to divulge. Yes. So if you're ready, you good? Nothing else you wanted to hit? We're going. No. We're going for it. It's just not a movie Propcast draft if you don't hear that stupid noise. It's Tyler's favorite part of the podcast, and here we are. I nominated this film. I nominated Small Soldiers, so the way it works, I will be drafting first, so I'll get first pick. Tyler will go back. We'll alternate until we each have 3 picks of props in this movie. Props, memorabilia, outfits, whatever it can be. Just iconic stuff from the film. Obviously, initially, we know where we're going, right? Like, I don't know. The toughest part about being first is which one of these is more iconic?
I was going to say, this happened twice for us. This happened in Spider-Man, and this happened in Jingle All the Way. So I just want to say good luck.
I know. I mean, either way, we're both good for the first pick. I know that for a fact.
Once you make your pick, I'm actually going to sweeten it up for you. So I want you to make your pick. And then I'm going to give you a chance to make it feel even better.
Okay. So what had happened was I went back and forth all day today, and I was like, I had to actually weigh the pros and cons here, because I don't know. Obviously, I can talk freely about this because I know what the next pick's going to be. Tommy Lee Jones is the voice of Chip Hazard, which is a big deal. It's freaking Tommy Lee Jones, right? He's the main antagonist in this film. He's the bad guy.
He's a bad man.
I just don't know that I can pick him, though. I don't think I can do it.
But why? You've given all the pros, 0 cons.
The con is there's an equally awesome character on the good side that gets. I think I don't even know if he gets more screen time, to be honest. He probably doesn't in the grand scheme of things, because Chip Hazard's all over the place. So
they made so much Chip merchandise. Like, there were billboards. Yeah. There was a blow up Chip. There was Chip was all over this.
He's definitely the main action figure in this entire movie. Like he's obviously the marketing of the film is Chip. You don't even see on the cover. Well, you do on the cover, but the movie poster, it's pretty much just the Commando Elite. Like, I don't think there's really a lot of Gorgonite action in this film, because it's Tommy Lee Jones and you're trying to bill it as Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
And I'm saying all this, and I know I'm going to do it wrong still. I'm still going to pick Archer. I'm still picking the Archer action figure, just purely out of my heart, right? Like, as a kid, I was like, damn, I want an Archer. I want somebody I could just chill with, right? Like, imagine having an action figure as a kid that you could have a dialogue with. Like, that, to me, that was like always the most fascinating thing, right? And obviously Toy Story came out and you had all those movies and stuff, but the Toy Stories, they were hiding, right? They were like, they would hide the fact that they were sentient for some reason. This was like out in the open. You got a dude you could chill with, throw him in your backpack. Yeah, maybe you get made fun of in school because you're talking to an action figure, but whatever. It's cool. So I'm taking Archer. I always thought Archer looked really cool too. I think the design's pretty awesome for whatever they were. Like you said, they're monsters, but they're like animals. I don't know what exactly he was, but I'm taking Archer. I can see you smirking already because you know I messed up, but I don't feel like I messed up.
I'm not smirking because you messed up. I honestly don't think there was a losing that, right? Because there's 2 major things in this movie. There's Tommy Lee Jones's voice as Chip Hazard. He commanded the movie.
Yeah.
You have Tommy Lee Jones as Chip. But 2 things came out of this movie. Chip's face came out of this movie in the poster as the doll and everything. But then also, so did Halt Who Goes There Greetings, I am Archer, emissary of the Gorgonites. Like you don't know. So yes, you hear Chip and you're like, that's Tommy Lee Jones. You hear Archer, you might not know who that is, but you know it's Archer still. Like Archer, I liked his design. It was great. Speaking of his design, later on in the movie, the fact that he was able to shoot a nail like 30 feet up in the air onto
it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. So I think your number one pick of Archer, not bad. I'm going to sweeten it up now. Because in your mind, you're probably just picking Archer. Now,
I am. Yeah.
I'm opening this up. Because there was Archer.
Okay.
There was Archer in the box, which had beautiful art. And then there was also that beautiful translucent, or not translucent, but transparent 3D model of Archer.
Okay. I think the 3D models are separate. I don't think I can take those.
I was going to say, do you want all three?
No. I think those are separate. I think
you think the 3D model should be separate?
No, I think the 3D model should be separate. Yes, because that's a totally different figurine. Unpainted, clear, like to me it's a totally different thing. I will say the box should come with the figures though. But you know what I mean? I think every figure we get, it should also come with the box because initially that's where they're at. They're in the box. So you'd get the empty box, you get the action figure. I think I can agree to that. I do think the 3D printed thing, that's another beast, right? I think that might be overstepping.
Okay.
I don't know.
No, you're right because this is the movie Propcast, and it's a separate prop. You are correct.
Okay.
I'm getting a little greedy. I was being nice.
It
wasn't completely altruistic because I wanted.
I know you wanted it too.
The thing is, now that you mention that though, you did mess up because that box art for Major Chip Hazard, my God, that was incredible. And now that I know I'm getting the box for free, you know I'm taking Chip number 2. My first pick is Chip because goddamn, I want everyone. We might have to pop this up somewhere. You need to see what this Chip box art looked like because that's something that they would make today. Like, it's, oh my God. He looked fluid. He had his 2 guns out. He was chill. Oh my God. Chip looks so good. Plus, it's Tommy Lee Jones. Get out of here, man.
I know. I made the argument for you. You don't have to say much more. I mean, obviously, I made the argument for you, but it is like, I don't mind taking Archer first because, I like that character more. Obviously, it's the good guy. It's the leader of the Gorgonites. I don't know. You can't go wrong either way. Like you said, I could have gone either way. And I think we're both pretty pleased. I think the draft technically starts now, right? Like the real draft.
The only thing that is difficult for me is that Chip had so many different models. Because you had the 3D printed Chip, you had the original Chip / Chip in the box, but then you also have Chip where half of his face is melted or burned off, where part of his eye is out, and you kind of have like that Terminator 2 Arnold Schwarzenegger thing going on.
That's
with him.
tough too because it is like every scene kind of had a different style. So, but I mean,
that Chip, so throughout the movie I was like, all right, I'm taking Chip if Archer's taken. And then they got to the end, and Chip had the eyeball hanging out.
So you're taking eyeball hanging out guy. I mean, it looked definitely a lot cooler. It would look cooler.
It would look cooler. I just got to take classic Chip, but it was so cool. It was cool.
Yeah, he definitely looked pretty badass. Okay, so like I said, we only get 2 total action figures out of our 3 picks. So I don't think I'm going to use my action figure pick back to back. There are some good gems, right? There's definitely some good ones. Some that I'm a little more attached to, probably for personal reasons. But I think coming back. And it really sealed the deal. I had it pretty high on my list during the movie, but it sealed the deal at the end for me. And I think I'm going to take the wooden boat from the toy shop. The toy shop wooden boat.
The wooden boat was, I literally put Gorgon boat. It was the last thing I added. I did not want it early on. And then when they were sailing off to Gorgon, I was like, all right, that's a solid pick.
Yeah, so it did have like a little sentimental value. Obviously, they're all on that boat, and we can talk about the logistics of putting a bunch of electronic toys in a boat and just shipping them down a river to live the rest of their lives, which could have, they hit one little rapid, boom, their lives are over. They're done. They're at the bottom of the river.
No, because you remember one of them was swimming in the fish tank early in the movie. I don't think water affected them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, I mean, that does kind of change things, but it just did seem kind of weird to me. Like, what the hell are they going to do? Like, where are they going? They're going to try to find, what is it, Gorgon? No. Is it Gorgon?
Gorgon.
Yeah. Why? I don't know. It just seems so weird. Somebody else is going to capture these things, right? And, like, try to do something with them. I don't understand that. But I do think there is a lot of value to that boat. Obviously, the dad comes in. It's like his prized possession for some reason in this toy shop. But it gets a lot of screen time in the toy shop. And at the end, when they just send them all off, I feel like that's kind of... And there's a lot cooler stuff. When you see this boat in a display, you're not, oh, that's the one from Small Soldier. You're not saying that. But I just think it does kind of tie a little bow on it at the end where you can just say that. So I'm going to put Archer, my Archer figure on this boat on my display, right? And
you can just have him on the front like Jack and Rose.
Yeah, oh yeah,
from Titanic.
Yeah. And then I'll make an action figure of me, and I'll put it behind him, just holding the arms out, and it'll be a beautiful moment.
Yes,
precious. So, yeah, I'll take the.
So this
boat.
This is a very nostalgic return for Doyle. Like normally you're about the action. I think you took the Green Goblin in Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, I did. Well, yeah, because you took the Spider-Man suit, right? That was.
Yeah,
is that what happened?
So.
I don't remember which way that worked.
I think I got the glider, and I think you got Green Goblin. The Green Goblin suit, if I remember correctly. It's just interesting because normally I feel like I'm more the nostalgic one, and I'm more of the peacekeeper. But coming back, I'm feeling different, man. Because I mean, you took a mode of transportation, so I figure I might as well take a mode of transportation. Correct? So
I mean, go for it. Yeah, knock yourself out.
So give me Chip Hazard's helicopter, baby.
Okay,
I want that. Right. I want that Chip Hazard helicopter shooting fireworks at people. That was a lot of cool. They had a lot of little cool vehicles in this.
Yeah, towards the end, it was like, where are they putting these together that fast? But yeah, they were friggin' strapped. Yeah.
Yes. They freaking made a little Voltron skateboard. It was crazy. It was actually really cool. But yeah, I want that Chip helicopter. That honestly wasn't the first vehicle I wanted, but now that I got Chip, I gotta
put him in his chopper, bro. Yeah. So I'll put Archer on his boat, and you put Chip and Chip in the chopper.
Chip in the chopper.
Chip in the chopper. So I did. That was going back and forth. Obviously, Chip's helicopter was on my list. But like you said, it wasn't my top vehicle, and if for whatever reason I missed out on the boat, the vehicle that I would have picked, I'll tell you when we're done because I'm not going to pick it now. I'm not going to pick a boat and a vehicle. I've got to dip back into the action figure realm. Because,
I'll tell you what my number one vehicle was too afterward.
See, now this is when it gets tough because I now have the run of the lot here of all the secondary characters, both.
There was a lot of good secondary characters.
Right, so both Gorgonites and Commando Elite. So it's like I can go either way here.
Wait, so you're not taking a Gwendy doll?
I'm not going to take a Gwendy doll personally, no.
Oh my God, Doyle.
I know, it just, they didn't have a name. It was like they're all just
man.
Gwendy bots, you know what I mean? It's kind of lame. Yeah, it's 2022. Okay. So no, what I'm going to wind up... Oh, you know what? You know what's even more dumb? I wish... I had another really good one. No, we can't keep doing this. No, we gotta have a cutout. No, I don't want to keep extending it. We do it every episode, and we're like, we came into this with a plan, and then we extend the draft just because we feel bad. No, I'm gonna make a tough choice here, and I gotta drop something off. Man, damn, it's. This is it's insane. It's like every character had a pretty decent role. I honestly because I have Archer, I'm less inclined to take a Gorgonite because I do want to dip into the Commando Elite. Like I want to have that side by side, just a little comparison there.
Yeah.
So I think I am going to pick a Commando Elite. All right, which sucks because I'm actually passing over a lot of Gorgonites that I put on my list.
They all for those of you who don't personally know Doyle, every Gorgonite, I feel like, is something he would have up in his room. Like, everything embodied.
I actually had
your zaniness.
Yeah. I'll tell you afterwards whenever you're done what I actually had, because I had 3 action figures from this movie. Obviously, I had the main 2, but I had another one that I really liked more than any of them.
I feel like I could guess it.
What is it?
The Tasmanian Devil one.
You son of a bee! How'd you know? Yeah, no, Insaniac. Insaniac was my dude, bro.
I didn't even have to think about it.
Yeah, I did. I've always kind of leaned into the chaos, and that dude was pure chaos. But I can't pick him though. That's the thing. I got to pick a Commando Elite. I think one of my favorite ones, and maybe even my favorite one. If Tommy Lee Jones wasn't attached to Chip Hazard, I still think this character was more fun throughout the movie. And I got to go with my guy. What was it? Wait,
I'm tied between 2. I almost want to guess this before you do.
If you want to try to guess, yeah, it's a Commando Elite. It's not Chip Hazard. Is
it the buff dude, the buff white dude who gets his legs?
Is it Rick Bazooka? Yeah, that's my guy, yes. Bro. Rick Bazooka. I gotta get him, dude. He was just so funny. He was like just this big dope, right? But like he was out there just doing his thing. When he was hanging on the back, like he gets completely dismantled, but they put him back together. So I want the put back together one, because there's a model where really all he does is just have some tape on, right? Like it's pretty much the same doll, but he's got tape. So yeah, I want damaged Brick Bazooka. I thought he was pretty funny in this movie. Like he was honestly the most likable out of all of them.
I would agree with you. I love the scene where he's like, I'm messed up, Cap, and then they come and they have a first aid kit. I'm like, why do they have a first aid kit? This is ridiculous. Yeah. And realistically, he had the exact same damage Nick Nitro did.
We don't talk about that.
Like,
we don't talk about it. The legs were gone, though. The legs were gone. You couldn't do anything with them.
True, the legs were ground up, but like, oh my god! And then Brick just handstands himself over back to his legs. That man,
a hero, man. He knows what he's doing.
Brick is a good pick. He was definitely a good pick. It was either that or Nick Nitro. They had the 2 biggest personalities.
Right.
And for some reason, the one who was like the telecommunications guy, like the one with like the visor.
He was such a little slimy guy. Yeah, you just look like a slime ball.
He just stuck out to me. I don't know why. I definitely would pick him after those 2, but he stuck out a lot to me.
I did not like him at all. Like he was my least favorite. I was like, I just don't like anything he's doing. Yeah, I don't know.
You want something I noticed, like a small little thing when Chip goes and he gets a second army, he doesn't bring other chips.
I wrote that down and I was like, how weird is that, right? Like there's the same amount of chips as there are every other character. And he's like, specifically. But my question is, they all punched out of their packaging. Why not them? Right? Yeah. Across the entire country or world, wherever they're shipped, are we just expected to believe that these are the only ones that busted out of their packaging?
Well, these broke street date, though. So the whole thing was that Alan broke street date. He had them out before they were supposed to be out, so no one had time to go through the Halt Who Goes There. I think they were supposed to come out that weekend or like the next day, and this all happened before street date.
I love that not once were they tested before they hit the streets. Like no one picked them up after it was assembled and did the lines to see how it would work, right? No one saw that they're sentient creatures. But yeah, no, go ahead. One last pick in the draft here from Small Soldiers.
So, like you, I'm going to go across to the other line. I'm going to pick a Gorgonite. I'm between 2. I want you to lay out 2 that you think I would pick.
Okay, see now you just nailed mine. Now I'm out here I'm pressure's on. Like I'm going to get butchered. So you think I have to pick 2?
I'm only picking 1. Just what 2 Gorgonites do you think I would like?
So Archer's gone. I really liked one that I don't think anybody likes personally. We already talked about Insomniac, so I feel like I can't guess that.
He's up for it.
Right.
He's up for it. It's possible.
I really liked Punch It and Scratch It. The horn, the freaking horn monster, the big one with the little like orange guy.
Yeah.
I think it's I don't. Now I'm picking for myself again. I just like them all, so it's like I don't know.
Doyle, just
I'll pick that one, and then I guess we'll go with freaking Ocula. The freaking eyeball. I don't know.
I wish I could share my screen. I have written down Punch It and Ocula.
Dude, they're awesome. They're awesome. I don't know why I loved it so much.
Ocula creeped me out at first because I have a thing with eyes, but Punch It, I don't know why I loved Punch It. Like even more than Smash It.
It just looked like a rhino dinosaur monster. Yeah.
Like I wanted to like Smash It more because he had like the stone tied to his hand.
Yeah,
but
that was
something
I think
about
Slam
Punch
Fist.
It.
I think his name. Yeah.
Yeah,
the little like creature that was attached to Punch It is Scratch It for some reason. That's a combo deal for me. If you're picking it, that's a combo deal.
I appreciate that. I'll take it. I didn't care so much. Slam Fist, yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Punch It. I like it. I would like to take Ocula, but it would creep me out a little bit having that eye just stare at you.
Ocula was very high on my list, and I passed over it because I wanted the contrast of both, right? Just because for the sake of the draft. By the way, we're drafting. When we're drafting with our imaginations here, pretending that we have an infinite-sized display room for movie props, right? So I just love the designs of pretty much every one of these characters. Other than the Commando Elite, it's pretty boring, right? It's just pretty much generic army dudes. But the Gorgonites are so interesting. Like you said, the Punch It one is strange. You're trying to figure out like what animal it is. It's definitely like inspired by some sort of rhino-elephant combo. I don't know what that is, but the horn isn't even a horn. It's like it does what a horn does, but it's like a plate. Like I don't know. It's very strange, but no, that's a good pick. That one's definitely. You
got to trust yourself, man. You had it. You didn't trust yourself.
All right. No, it's good. So I'll give you Punch It, and I'm going to give you the Scratch It because to me they're a combo deal. So Punch It, Scratch It. So let me recap the draft real quick, and then we can go in the undraftable ones, the ones that didn't get picked.
But there's no love for Frankenstein or.
Oh, hell no. Bro didn't even make my list. I actually didn't even write him down. I felt really bad, but I was like, I'm not touching that guy, bro. He's ugly. He's just disgusting.
All right.
But no. Okay, so first pick, I picked Archer. You then followed up with Chip. Those are the first two no-brainers from this film, right? So, like, the draft didn't really start. Yeah. We knew those two were going to be off the board. I went wooden boat, which in contrast doesn't look as cool, right? It's just like, okay, that's a cool wooden boat from the film, from the toy store. You got Chip Hazard's helicopter. I then chose Brick Bazooka on the other side, Commando Elite, and then you chose from the Gorgonite side, Punch It and Scratch It. That is the movie Propcast draft. So now, the ones that we didn't get picked, because I won't go down everything I wrote. I'll go down the list that I had when I was ranking them, right? And ones that I actually overlooked. So what about you, real quick? The biggest one, I have one for me, and I'll hold down. I don't think you have it even on your list.
Really?
Yeah, that was actually hard to pass over.
So before the scene even came, I wrote. So obviously, I had Archer and Chip written down. Number 3, sometimes if I remember a movie, I'll put something early on. The number 3 thing, even though I would argue it might be number 4 now, that I had written down was tennis ball gun that was shooting the flaming tennis balls into the house. Right, that like machine.
You thought that was the best vehicle other than
I didn't
Chips?
Because it was the one I remembered most. But then 2 other vehicles popped up that were hard for me to pick Chip's helicopter over. The flaming CD tent toaster.
Right, that was awesome. I actually wrote toaster machines down. I was like, how are they doing that?
How are they shooting these? And then the nail gun turret. So not the corn and the cob gun, but the nail gun. That thing was deadly.
The nail gun was the only one I was legitimately terrified of. The nail gun vehicle was putting in work this film. It was doing serious damage, and I don't know how. Like that, I think was why they got the PG-13 rating, right? Because that was like actual, like they could have died. Like if that hits in the face or head, they're dead.
Done. Yeah.
So yeah,
like the nail
everything
gun
else, I was like,
work.
yeah, sure, you can puncture me with a corn cob thing. Like that's like what you put a tack in me, whatever. That's not a big deal. Flames, obviously, that's a bit different. You don't want to catch on fire, but like I feel like I can avoid some flames.
The flaming CDs were penetrating walls, though. It was going through drywall.
Okay, well that's a little. I mean, That's a bit much. Yeah, I don't know about the realism of that, but yeah, they were look, just pop your toaster up as fast as you can. How fast is that really going to realistically fly out? But no, those are some good vehicles. The one major one that didn't get, maybe got seconds of screen time, but I was very intrigued by. Do you remember the action figure Flatchu? Flatchu from the Belch Brigade?
No.
In the beginning of the movie, they're doing the pitch. The entire reason why Gil Mars buys Heartland Toys was because of the success from this weird-looking red action figure called Flatchu, and he was part of the Belch Brigade, and it was a success. It was like Heartland Toys' biggest financial success, right? And that was the reason why Gil Mars bought Heartland Toys in the first place. And it honestly looks like a slightly fatter Slam Fist that probably just farts and burps. That's its whole gimmick, is it just farts and burps.
Okay, I gotta go back and look this up.
Yeah, it's literally in the beginning of the movie. Like, when Dennis Leary sits down in that chair, he picks up the toy, looks at it, and says, it's the whole reason why because they were talking real quick about the success of that toy, and he's like, it's the reason I bought the company, and then they throw it aside, and that's it. But it's like a functional toy that just gets maybe seconds of screen time, and I'm like, they had to build that entire toy out and then immediately dismiss it, and it wasn't revisited at all. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Now I kind of wanted a sequel of like Small Soldiers, the Commando Elite versus the Belch Brigade, and just see how that goes. Like, I want the revival of the Belch Brigade.
No.
Anyway,
so
that was high on my list.
So Flat Shoe was high on your list.
Yes, yeah, because it was so random and so weird. But you'd see that and you would have no idea where that was from. But it just seemed like a big deal at the time.
So now that we're done with the. I have a very important question to ask you.
Okay.
Do Christy and Alan stay together after this, and if so, how long?
Hell no. Long term, no way.
No way?
No. Well, there's a whole thing now. Like they have to go through the ins and outs of. She has a boyfriend. He just happened to run away.
Well,
and
no,
quite frankly,
she had a boyfriend.
She had a boyfriend. Sure, they broke up. I guess it's implied that they broke up. But
yes,
I mean, I get him being scared and run away, but like it is kind of crazy that he didn't go back in or at least try. Like if he got knocked out, I'd feel less bad. Or if something happened where he just got taken out of the picture, that'd be fine. But the fact that he did run away, that is weird. So I guess there's not really a love triangle thing, but that is something that needs to be resolved, right? That he probably gets in a fight over it. It's like this whole thing, right?
She breaks up with him right away.
Well, I'm saying he is probably resentful to Alan Abernathy, and then it's a whole thing.
Oh,
right?
yeah. But I was actually very surprised with like Christy's straightforwardness this entire movie. Like she was very mature for what a
extremely unrealistic for that grade and that level. Personally, I don't know. Maybe you've seen other. Yeah. Maybe I don't know. Maybe why, especially for that. It just seemed like I don't know what grade they were in. What do you think? Freshman, eighth grade, maybe? I don't know.
No, because her boyfriend played. Oh,
he was on a motorcycle. You're right. She was riding this scooter.
His whole team was on a motorcycle. Like at one point, he comes to pick her up from the shop, and on the back on the other side of the street, his team was there, and it's 4 other dudes on motorcycles.
Well, but she did also mention she only dates older guys. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And so she's probably like a sophomore in high school, like a freshman, sophomore.
Okay. But Alan Abernathy looks like a child.
I had that written down. She looked at least 2 or 3 years older than him. She was taller than him and just looked more mature than him.
Very strange casting
weird.
in that aspect.
Yes.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I don't think the relationship lasts very long, honestly. It just, at no point did I get like a vibe. You know what I mean? There wasn't like, not that this is supposed to be a romance movie, but it just didn't seem like there was it seemed like she was kind of whatever, like any little wind blown in a different direction, she'd be like, oh, look at that's a cute boy. I don't know.
See, that was a part of the maturity. I think she knew she wanted Alan early on. But like you said, the movie wasn't about that. I don't think they make it. I think they make it to the end of high school.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a huge obstacle. And they're going totally different ways. Like, Alan's like, I'm taking over Pop's toy business, and she's like, I'm going to college. That's it. He doesn't seem like a college type to me. But the thing is, the parents, though, seem like the ones that would force a kid who didn't want to go to college to go to college. So That's the whole sequel, man. We got to get that sequel. We got to go back in time and have them make a sequel and see how it goes.
I think he creates toys in the future. He becomes a toy maker.
I'm actually I think what bothered me the most about the ending is that there was the dude had a really cool toy friend and like a bunch of cool toy friends, and he had to just be like, "Oh, you guys want to leave?" Like I feel like that would mess me up. You went through that whole traumatic experience, and the cause of it, they said, "Nah, we just want to float down a river."
But he leaves with the girl.
Yes. But knowing that there are toys out there that can talk and are sentient, I would still be chasing them down. I'd be like, where are these things at? Like, we got to find them.
True.
It's hard to get that
yeah, it is. But that's why I think he becomes a toy maker.
That's fair. And he keeps trying to, he gets those X1000 chips, and then we just do this all over again. Like, it's like, how they Jurassic Park, they did it, and then they made Jurassic World, and it happened again. That's the sequel. He just make the toys all over again, and then boom, we're back in it. Which isn't the logic is there. I mean, we do it all the time. So it's just we're
really like you've pitched this in like 4 different ways. So you really want a Small Soldiers too.
Okay, so real quick at the end of this, I know I wanted to see if it was going to do it, but there was a remake that got canceled, right? Apparently, due to the there was scripts flying around. There was a bunch going on. Nothing was in like production, right? But I guess there was the acquisition of 20th Century Fox by Disney in 2019. That was kind of what shut it down. Disney in August got a hold of all this stuff, canceled over 200 projects, one of them being an intention to remake Small Soldiers. That's
right up their alley.
I know. I don't understand. I mean, I guess maybe they were like Toy Story. They didn't want to. That was probably like they didn't want to cross that line. I guess I don't know. But
what?
Yeah, I don't know. Really, I don't really understand it personally. But also, are we due for a Toy Story live action? Like how plausible is that? Do you think? Are we not? We're not there for that.
No, not yet.
Okay. All right. Just wondering. That just popped in my head right there. But yes, there was a remake / sequel. They were talking around. Disney bought it, killed it, and that's where we are. So people waiting 25 years for a sequel. It's not coming anytime soon.
It was you and maybe one other guy in the back, so it's okay.
Yeah. Hey, if it's you, let us know. At Movie Propcast on Twitter, Instagram. You can email us, moviepropcast@gmail.com. We will gladly, we're happy to hear from you, anybody who wants to reach out. And you can stay up to date and catch us on social media. We actually record this podcast video and audio, so if you want to watch us yell at each other, and then draft and just overall conversate, which I think is a word. It's not. You can go to YouTube and search for the Movie Propcast as well and hit us with the subscribe there.
Where can we be heard?
Oh, you can't. You actually can't hear this podcast. It's only a visual podcast. I mute the audio and I upload just an hour of silence. So if you're hearing this for some reason, email us. I'm really confused on how you're doing it. But we do have the podcast up on all podcast platforms, but you cannot hear us. That's the one rule. So
it's like Pootie Tang's hit song.
Yeah, you can't hear it. It's not real. It doesn't exist.
We gotta go.
Yeah, we gotta get out of here. But I appreciate you guys hanging out, and we'll be back next time on the Movie Propcast. Tyler, thank you very much, and see you later. See you later. Love you guys. No, love you. Not you, the listeners. All right, see you.
I know.